Ross Chastain's Hail Melon move on the last lap of Sunday's race has gone viral, and it has fans, drivers, and NASCAR debating whether or not a rule should be implemented to prevent similar moves from being made in the future. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I can't take credit for the Hail Melon reference at the beginning. I think it was reporter Jeff Gluck who first coined the phrase, and then Ross Chastain's Melon Man brand is selling it on a t-shirt. We've got a lot to get to today. We will discuss the viral sensation that is Ross Chastain, but first, this episode is sponsored by my friends at Pristine Auction. PristineAuction.com is an online sports memorabilia website where you can bid on and win some amazing, authentic, signed items. Every week, they have all new items signed by your favorite NASCAR drivers. It's free to sign up, it's free to bid, you only pay for the items that you win. And if you click the link in the description below, you're signing up for the first time, be sure to use code GROOVE to get $10 off your first winning purchase. With Pristine, the authenticity is guaranteed. Head to PristineAuction.com right now to check out the latest deals. Thank you to Pristine Auction for sponsoring Out of the Groove. Before we get to Ross Chastain, yesterday Tyler Reddick provided an update on his condition after exiting Sunday's race early. If you missed it, midway through Sunday's Martinsville race, Tyler Reddick radioed his team that he wasn't feeling well, his head was hurting, and he just pulled his car behind the wall. He went straight to the infield care center where Richard Childress Racing later reported he underwent and passed a neurological examination. Tyler Reddick did not speak to any reporters, any media this past weekend, but yesterday he released this statement on Twitter. Update on my current situation. During the restart at the beginning of stage 2, I was involved in a stack-up where significant contact occurred to my vehicle. After being evaluated in the infield care center, the medical team came to the conclusion that further evaluation today was the next step to take. We are taking those necessary steps to make sure that I am 100% before I am cleared to return to racing. I'm feeling better and working hard following the instructions of the medical team. Reddick also appeared on SiriusXM NASCAR radio yesterday and elaborated further, saying, quote, I ran into the back of Noah, my head went forward a bit, then someone ran into the back of me and my head went flying back into the headrest. Something just didn't really seem right and felt like I needed to get out of the car. Tyler Reddick was involved in a nasty-looking crash at Homestead Miami Speedway a week earlier, and while Reddick said the wreck at Homestead was surprisingly larger than he thought it would be, he felt like it had nothing to do with what happened to him at Martinsville. So, not exactly sure if that's true. The wreck at Homestead looked bad. He hit at a really bad angle, but it was a front impact. We've heard of really all impacts, front and rear, are a little heavier with this car, but it's really the rear impacts that have knocked drivers out of the seat for longer periods of time that's really raised everyone's sort of alarm. I'm recording this early Tuesday afternoon, and as of now, no official word has been given on Reddick's status for Phoenix this Sunday. I would assume he's going to race, but in that statement yesterday, while he said he's feeling a lot better, he didn't say he's necessarily 100% yet. So, we'll see. Of course, it's troubling that head injuries continue to be a problem with this new car. NASCAR has a completely new rear clip, some changes to the centerpiece as well that will be implemented in time for the start of 2023. But until then, everyone's stuck working with an imperfect race car. Kurt Busch has missed every race since Pocono. Alex Bowman, thankfully, is set to return this weekend at Phoenix, but he had to miss a few weeks. He got eliminated from the playoffs as a result. Now Tyler Reddick, another young, rising superstar with a potential head injury. We don't know if he's going to miss any full races, but still a concern. Very much a concern at this point. I just hope we can get through Phoenix without any major incidents, potentially injuring any other drivers, and hopefully the changes to the rear and center clips going into next year will be at least sufficient. Obviously, you can always do better, can always do more. I'm sure NASCAR will continue to work to make some edits and adjustments, but hopefully this change is a big swing. I think it was at Homestead a couple weeks ago where a couple drivers came out of their safety meeting with NASCAR and said it was the most productive meeting yet. So hopefully things are trending the right direction going into 2023. Let's just try to get through 2022 without any further incidents. Wishing the best, hoping the best for Tyler Reddick next week and through the offseason. Meanwhile, there is some positive news. Ross Chastain's last lap move at Martinsville has gone viral. On Sunday night, SportsCenter had it as their #1 top 10 play. competing against the entirety of NFL Sunday. This tweet earlier today from Joseph Strigley broke it down. Clips of Ross Chastain's move have over 30 million views on Twitter, over 53 million on TikTok, 13 million on Facebook, nearly 3 million on YouTube, nearly 100 million total views in less than 2 days. And that tweet I just showed you is from a few hours ago. It's probably over 100 million at this point. I mentioned the t-shirts that Ross Chastain's Melon Man brand are selling, haul the wall. Team owner Justin Marks and his wife Erin Marks, I think, won Halloween with this costume yesterday. It's everywhere. And for a sport like NASCAR, who's desperately been trying to break into the mainstream for something positive the last few years, this has to be a huge week, a huge win. A win for NASCAR, a win for the playoff format, a win for Ross Chastain, a rising young superstar. W's all around. But that hasn't stopped the fans, drivers, members of the media, and NASCAR themselves from discussing the possibility of implementing a new rule going forward. NASCAR exec Steve O'Donnell was on SiriusXM NASCAR radio earlier this morning discussing the Ross Chastain move, any potential rules that may come out of it. He also talked about Ty Gibbs. We'll get to that in a moment. But before we hear what Steve O'Donnell, what NASCAR is saying about this, let's hear what some of the drivers, what some of the competitors and analysts are saying. Many drivers have called Ross Chastain's move brilliant, crazy, cool, but are now calling for NASCAR to implement some sort of rule preventing similar moves from being made in the future. Notably, Kyle Larson, just moments after Sunday's race, called it embarrassing for the sport. Joey Logano didn't go quite that far, but still believes a rule needs to be implemented. Here's what Logano said. "I mean, it was awesome. It was cool. It happened for the first time. There's no rule against it. There needs to be a rule against this one because I don't know if you want the whole field riding the wall coming to the checkered flag. I don't know if it's the safest thing for the driver or fans when you have a car right up at the wall hauling the mail like that. What if that fence, gate, wasn't closed all the way? What if it was bent and caught his car? That's a big risk that Ross was willing to take. God bless him. That's awesome. But I don't think we need to do that every week." Logano's comments, I think, speak for many on this side of the argument, but on the other side, there are many in the industry that don't want to see NASCAR step in at all. They don't want to see any new rules. Larry McReynolds on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio yesterday had a strong take on this front.
Shame on NASCAR if they are even considering coming up with a rule. Forbid them. That would be just ripping us apart if they come up with a rule that's, what are you going to say? You can't get against the wall? Hey, what is the rule going to be, for Pete's sake?
Both sides, I think, have a ton of merit. On this side, the Larry Mack side, yeah, NASCAR just went viral for something good, for something crazy, for something cool that got everyone excited. Why would we create any rule to prevent similar exciting moments from happening in the future? Meanwhile, I agree with the Joey Logano side. It was cool, it was awesome, and perhaps Ross Chastain can put a feather in his cap knowing he forced NASCAR to introduce a new rule. But say this starts happening every year, maybe multiple times a year, where someone just sails it into turn 3 on the last lap at Martinsville or Richmond or Phoenix, a short track. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, it's just a driver mashing the gas and running the fence. Not running the fence like at Homestead, just riding the wall, just pointing their wheel straight, doing nothing. Is that good racing? Is that safe? Logano pointed out some features at Martinsville that could have come into play. I was sitting there thinking the whole time, what if Chastain just rear-ended someone hard? What if he rear-ended someone when he was going 60 miles an hour faster than them? With these cars, that's a concussion. I'm curious to hear which side you guys land on. For me, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I disagree with Larry McReynolds. And I agree with Joey Logano. Oh my gosh, what is this? The Twilight Zone? It was thrilling. It was exciting. It was great. I'm glad it happened. Once. Anyone who does it again, it won't be nearly as cool. I'm just gonna say it now. I don't know exactly what the rules should look like. Should it be as simple as, hey, you can't hit the wall and improve your position? Maybe, but there are tracks like Darlington or Homestead where you can rub the wall a little bit. Sometimes that is the best way to make speed and you're not just straight up wall riding. And maybe there's some nuance to it that may need to be written in, but I think there is a rule that can and should be implemented during the off season. And this is where I want to play or listen to what Steve O'Donnell had to say on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio.
We've seen similar attempts, but never successfully, right? So in our 75-year history, no one has successfully done that. So Ross pulled off a first that we all saw that I don't think anyone was thinking about. I think certainly within the rules, what he did and was able to execute it. As with anything you see for a first time, you got to take a look. We've had a number of discussions internally about that move and all the what ifs, but that's within the rules, and believe that's where we'll be for Phoenix as well, and then something we can definitely evaluate in the offseason.
I think Steve O'Donnell is saying all the right things. No, I don't think they should change the rule this week. I think, like you said, you've run 35 races with one rule in place. You shouldn't change it just for the finale. Let this season play out. If someone wall rides at Phoenix, okay. But during the offseason, I think NASCAR should implement some sort of rule. I'm not trying to be a buzzkill. I'm just saying if what Ross Chastain did becomes the norm, it will get old really, really fast. That's just my opinion. So I hope NASCAR does take a look at it and perhaps implement something during the offseason. But I agree with Steve O'Donnell's take. They shouldn't make any changes going into Phoenix. Yes, what happened at Martinsville, as is written currently in the rulebook, was totally legal. I think NASCAR called it right. So leave your thoughts again down in the comment section below. Do you agree more with the Logano side that it was cool, but we should make a rule to prevent it going forward? Or you agree with the Larry McReynolds side that no, this was awesome, this was great, why would we take this away from the drivers? This is just another tool in the toolbox. Which side do you agree on? Where do you fall? While we're here and we're talking about Steve O'Donnell, he was also asked about the Ty Gibbs, Brandon Jones contact on the last lap of Saturday's Xfinity race. O'Donnell said, quote, "Certainly we didn't like what we saw Saturday in terms of how that win came about. But at the end of the day, I think the drivers, it's in their hands. What is intent? It's very hard to judge. That was close for sure, but obviously we made the call to let that one go." Again, I actually agree. While I did not like Ty Gibbs' move, I thought it was out of line, uncalled for, a cheap shot. Did a whole video yesterday ranting about it. I don't think NASCAR should have stepped in and disqualified him or something like that. This is another situation where I think we could debate whether a new rule is needed to officiate over-aggressive driving. Does NASCAR need to step in more? Can they continue to be hands-off and let the drivers police themselves by and large? I don't know. I think that's a debate that we can start to have. But as far as how NASCAR's officiated races this year, really for most of my lifetime, no. What Ty Gibbs, dirty as it may be, that's not a penalty. So I think NASCAR got that one right. Will be interesting to see if NASCAR feels the need to step in, though, and start officiating more incidents more closely going forward. Again, leave your comments down below. I really want to know where you fall on the Ross Chastain move. Should it be banned? Should it be celebrated and continued? Let me know down in the comment section below. That is going to do it for this episode, I believe. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. As always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. I couldn't do this show without your tremendous support every single month. I greatly appreciate y'all. Y'all are really the best. We'll have more coming out later this week. We're going to have a Championship 4 preview episode coming here in the next couple of days. Trucks Xfinity Cup going to be a busy weekend out at Phoenix. I can't wait. I will see you all there. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. I'll see you in the next episode.